Welcome all to Week 10. We seem to bounce back somewhat in Week 9. Both of us came back to our original baseline and seem to be on the right track heading into the last half of the season. You may notice that we had our very first push last week with the Rams and Panthers game, and we will throw this game out of the window to keep our overall record simple. Speaking of which, a quick look back at our overall records on the season. An excellent showing for Billy B and just a shit show of a record for myself during the 2016 season. Last week's question of the week asked the viewers, who is your top 5 teams leading into Week 9? Most about everyone had the same top 4 teams, with a few that had the Raiders, Packers, and Chiefs sprinkled in there. There was also someone who decided the number 5 spot should go to the Carolina Panthers. Andrew's reasoning behind it was solid, and someone even backed him up with a good old, the Panthers are the Chiefs of 2015. Other than that, everyone had very similar rankings. Congrats to those who were featured, and don't forget to answer this week's question of the week. For the top 5 teams leading into Week 10, we round off number 5 with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos unit as a whole looks subpar compared to the level that they normally played at. At number 4, we have a new team breaking the top 5, and I'm sure Oakland fans are going to love this. The Raiders did everything they could during their first televised home Sunday night football matchup during the regular season, and they proved the haters wrong. At number 3, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan just keeps balling out every week, and they deserve some movement in the top 5. Number 2 goes to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Dallas absolutely rattled the Browns, contrary to what I predicted in my upset pick. And at number 1, coming out of the bye week, is the New England Patriots. We can't just put the Cowboys in front of the Patriots because they beat the Browns. This leads us to this week's question of the week. Will the Dallas Cowboys trade Tony Romo after the season is over? And if so, what team would need him the most? Comment your response down below, and the best comments get featured in next week's video. Let's get into the games. Our first game we look at is the Minnesota Vikings heading into DC to take on the Redskins. Minnesota is coming off of a last-minute losing effort to a division rival, and the Redskins are going to be well-rested off of their bye week. The Vikings have been faltering lately, losing their last 3 matchups coming off of their bye. This team really needs to win this week, or their quick 5-0 start will be for nothing. On the other hand, the Redskins have been looking up in their past few outings, with Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis, and Jamison Crowder pulling out all the stops. In this one, I have to go with the team that is playing hot and has home field advantage. Let's take the Washington Redskins straight up and to win by at least 2.5. I need a big game from Jordan Reed to keep my fantasy football playoff dreams alive.
I got Minnesota Vikings plus 2.5 and straight up in this one. I think the Minnesota Vikings, after back-to-back losses, are going to get their defense back on track, start running the ball, get back to basics. This is a game that they must win. Their division's getting better. Detroit Lions are actually in first place in that division, so they can't afford to keep losing. So I think the Minnesota Vikings get back to the basics and win this game. So take the Vikings plus 2.5 and straight up.
The second game we look at is a sub-500 barn burner, when Jay Cutler takes his Bears into Tampa to take on the Bucs. The Bucs are coming off of an embarrassing loss to Atlanta, even when their star wide receiver did everything he could to amass over 30 fantasy points last week. And the Bears are coming off of a well-rested bye week. In my mind, this game is going to be high-scoring and is going to end up being really close. Both teams have decent quarterbacks, a star wide receiver, and well-versed running backs. The key to who will win in this one is who will be able to end up with the ball in the last series and who can control the clock the longest. I like Jay Cutler and Alshon Jeffrey to outduel Winston and Mike Evans. Let's take the Bears straight up and to cover the 1.5 point spread.
All right, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 1.5 against the Chicago Bears. The Bucs are getting their offense going. Mike Evans is a monster. He catches like 10 balls a game. I don't think Chicago's going to be able to stop Jameis Winston and him. I know a lot of the Bucs running backs have been getting hurt, but with throwing game with Jameis Winston, I don't think it's going to matter. So take the Bucs minus 1.5 and straight up.
Our third matchup features 2 teams who are coming off of a heartbreaking losses in Week 9 when the Green Bay Packers travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Marcus Mariota basically threw that game away for the Titans, and the Packers could not stop anything on defense, nor could they get anything going on offense. For this matchup, I feel bad for the Titans' defense. Aaron Rodgers is going to come back with a vengeance and bring out his MVP playmaking ability. The Pack are only favored by 2.5 points in this one, but I'm expecting a huge win at Nissan Stadium.
All right, I got the Green Bay Packers minus 2.5 against the Tennessee Titans. This is a must-win game for the Packers. They can't afford to keep losing games that they should be winning. I don't think they're going to have any trouble in this game. I think Aaron Rodgers calling out his team might be a good thing. I think they're going to come out, play a great game. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw for a ton of yards, and I think they're going to blow out the Titans. So take the Packers -2.5 against the Titans and straight up.
Our last game has most definitely been circled on NFL fans' calendars when the Dallas Cowboys go into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Cowboys manhandled the Pee Wee football team that is the Browns, and the Steelers got handed a big loss to their most despised opponent. Normally, I would say home field advantage would pull the Steelers a win in this one, but with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott firing on all cylinders, and Tony Romo basically in the shadows, America's team have an excellent chance to upset the universe's team. I'm kind of shocked that the Steelers are favored by 2.5 points in this one. Take the Cowboys straight up and to cover the 2.5 point spread.
All right, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers -2.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Steelers are coming off a pretty bad loss against Baltimore. Their offense couldn't get going. Dallas avoided the trap game versus the Browns, and this is going to be a tough game for them to play. I think this will be a letdown game for Dallas, and they can afford to lose this game. They have a pretty good lead on the NFC East, and the Steelers need this game bad. So I like the Steelers to get their offense going and win this game. So take the Steelers -2.5 and straight up.
Boy, oh boy, did I piss off a lot of people last week with my upset pick. And rightfully so, as the Cowboys laid a whooping on the Browns. This week, I'm actually enraged that odds makers have chosen to favor the Eagles by a point. Let's take the Falcons to upset the Eagles at the Link, if you could call that an upset. I will be in attendance for this game for my team, and I do not expect them to lose in any fashion, although I do have a track record of 0-2 when watching the Falcons play in person, both losses of which came from Pennsylvania's West Side City. I'm hoping Matt Ryan lights up their defense and puts on a show to make Papa proud.
All right, for my upset, I like the Atlanta Falcons +1 and straight up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think that the Eagles are going to be able to keep up with the Falcons' offense. Their Eagles' offense has been going downhill for the last couple of weeks. Carson Wentz has looked like a rookie. They've been making a lot of mistakes. Their offensive line's beat up. So I just don't think they're going to be able to score enough points to stay in this one. So take the Atlanta Falcons +1 and straight up.
And here is the rest of our picks for Week 10. For this week's Shane Report, we start off with the upset pick that shook the world. Last week, I took the Browns to upset the Cowboys, which turned back a lot of backlash. I even managed to piss someone off because I said the Titans were a decent team. I would say it's a win in my book, and a good week in the comments section overall. At least I had the football guru on my side. You know, it's a Shame Report kind of day when Phil Simms and Jim Nantz do a play-by-play when a squirrel gets loose on the field at Lambeau. I mean, the Indianapolis-Green Bay game was so boringly bad that the commentators, who, by the way, get paid for this, lose interest.
Than the Green Bay side has. Well, let's analyze it. That's good form. Springing, yeah, I like that.
In the Hatbox Pick'em League, we now have seen the emergence of Stott Sauce to be co-leaders with Cameron Cressamore in Week 9, who both have an overall record of 84 and 47. Congratulations to both of them, and don't forget to set your picks by the end of this week. In the Hatbox Survivor Pool, Week 9 was good to our final 4, and no one has been eliminated. Good luck to the last 4 people still standing. Out of those still standing, there is only one person who has yet to get a strike against them. Our Week 10 leader and our overall last man undefeated is still Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans has yet to get a strike against them and chose the San Diego Chargers, who in turn won by 8 points. Congratulations to him, and don't forget to set your pick by the end of this week. After a decent Week 9 showing, we look to shatter Week 10. I will be starting to do a few giveaways over on my Twitter account. No one won last week, and last week's prize will be brought on to Week 10. I will post the giveaway question before the 1 p.m. games, and every question will have a deadline. Be sure to set notifications on the Hatbox Twitter profiles so you do not miss out. You must follow the account, retweet the question, and use the hashtag in your response to the question when prompted to do so. Don't forget to set your lineups in my Pick'em and Survivor polls, and don't forget to answer this week's question of the week. I hope all of you have a great week making your predictions and enjoy the games. I'll see you dudesons in the next video. Peace.